Good morning, folks. This is Zach Stafford with Capsule Corp Gaming, bringing you a final round tournament from today, June 11th. It's about 8:40 in the evening. We've had 4 rounds up to this point. This is the final round for the championship match at the locals that we're having today at Next Gen Trading. Again, my name is Zach Stafford with Capsule Corp Gaming. Thank you for watching. All right, here we go. We're going to have our final match here. Wonderful. They're shaking hands here. Brian Hawkins is rolling. He's playing a red Piccolo, and he rolls a 1. Okay. And Jonathan Hammondtree is rolling another 1. Oddly enough, he's playing orange Gohan today.
So obviously, it's Piccolo red, so he's going to be trying to anger out pretty heavily because, you know, Piccolo plus red.
Definitely. Lots of rejuve, lots of anger gain, even on the cards themselves. It's really good.
John leads with DB3.
Yep. And
I played against John earlier today, and his is very much so like he sets up like a wall of kind of like defensive allies and like obviously the orange drills that let you prevent attacks. So his is very much so a lot of just like not dying essentially. Right. So it's going to be somewhat difficult, I think, to sort of hold his own against a deck that is stereotypically would be trying to anger out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a good matchup. A lot of folks might be wondering why in the world do we have a final match with a red Piccolo and an orange Gohan?
Well, okay. So the reason is here at Next Gen on Thursday nights, for the record,
get him, Brian!
What we typically do is we ban the top tier decks. And what we consider the top tier is pretty much Black Krillin that uses the promo Krillin, any kind of Ginyu, and Piccolo Namekian.
Right. So, I mean, you could still use Piccolo with any other style, just not Namekian.
Like red.
Right. Krillin, we banned outright, and Ginyu, we banned outright, no matter what the style actually is.
Because they are all good.
Okay. So we're just doing a lot of passing back and forth. It looks like Jonathan's setting up his board. And, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely know John is the more defensive style of deck today, I think. Haven't played it or seen Brian's deck, so I don't really know if he's more aggressive or defensive.
Sure. CJ, did you actually introduce yourself?
No, I didn't. I'm CJ.
Yeah, our other commentator tonight is CJ. He's also part of Capsule Corp Gaming, part of the locals here, and really having a lot of fun getting these played out.
Yep. Been playing the game for what, like 2 months now, I think?
Yeah, 2 months.
Somewhere about that?
Yeah, you're actually doing really, really well. You have played other card games before,
Yeah,
correct?
I played Magic for a little over 2 years before playing this.
Okay.
And then, of course, as most 8-year-olds in these times, I played Yu-Gi-Oh!, where you had like 200, you owned 200 cards, and that was your deck.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Sure.
Probably doesn't really count as competitive card game playing.
Probably
but, you know,
not.
It exists. It happened.
Probably not. So just trading back and forth basically right now, and they've actually entered a combat. Jonathan has his energy block up, energy block drill up, and we're actually just waiting for something to happen.
Yep. Okay, so John passed. Okay, and Brian uses Piccolo's level 1 power. So John passes for the second time, so not a whole lot to do, obviously.
All right, passes, like and it goes over to Brian.
Yep.
Powering up. So tell me, did you play the Dragon Ball Z when it was first out?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I just have only played the newer game.
Got it. I actually never played any card game at all except Dragon Ball Z. So I chose a pretty good one to get involved with.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Oh, and before we get too far along, we're actually playing for a promo. It was a free tournament.
Yep.
We didn't pay anything to enter and everything. It was just having fun and everything. But we still do have some promo cards left over. We're actually doing a Blue Terror promo card. There it is.
Hype.
Hype.
Promo hype.
Yep. So actually a really nice alternate art version of Blue Terror there.
Definitely.
It's kind of got that 80s vibe going on with
like
it.
Like the 80s, like really cheesy horror movie type
definitely.
thing.
Definitely. So, yeah, Blue Terror, great card. It's a limit 1 per deck, so it's a really cool promo card to actually have. And, really good card. And for those of you that don't know what Blue Terror is, it's a limit 1 per deck, banish after use, blue energy combat card. Has an energy attack costing 2 stages, 3 life cards. So, I mean, it's decent and everything. But the secondary effect, search your life deck for a non-Dragon Ball card and place it in your hand.
Very, very, very
really
good.
Cool, so you can, selectively tutor what you want to have, keep it in your hand, so actually play it.
Yep.
It's a non-Dragon Ball card, so you can pull anything else out you want.
And it's especially absurd if you happen to, like, have confrontationed or stare downed that combat. Yeah. Then it's just like, all right, so I know everything in your hand, and I can literally just pull out the best card in my deck, period.
Yeah, that's really nice. So, especially, and if it depends on when you play it during the combat and everything. Yeah. If you know that they don't have any energy blocks, say you pull out your most powerful energy attack that you can, or an energy attack that has a secondary effect that allows you to pull another card or something like that. It's really nice. This one will go through. The next attack if it's an energy attack, it will go through. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you're playing like a Goku blue or something like that, you could pull out a Kamehameha or something like that, and that'll be really, really nice. If you're playing Krillin, blue Krillin, you can pull out your Destructo Disc, and you can hit him again. Most likely will crit with that, so you get the crit effect. You can steal a ball. Blue Terror is really, really versatile. It can really help your deck out. If you don't have this card, folks, you have to have this in every single blue deck that you're running.
Good news is you only need 1.
Yeah, it'd be really OP if it had more than 1.
If you're gonna have 3, that would be broken.
Yep.
So let's go for Blue Terror. Blue Terror.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're going back to the game here. They're just kind of passing back and forth, setting up their boards here. Not too much action yet going on. So right now we are at Brian's combat. His chance to enter combat. And cool.
And it looks like Brian has Dragon Ball 6 in play. Yeah. Which is of course pretty good because obviously, pretty much with usually your deck is more leaning towards physical or energy. The nice thing about Dragon Ball 6 is it's really nice for either because if you're physical based, you get to stay at a higher power level. Because then your physical attacks
can hopefully keep you in another power stage or higher on the AT table.
And if you're energy, obviously your attacks all cost stages. So having more stages means you get to do more attacks.
Absolutely.
And then it makes his enemies' attacks deal 2 less stages, right? 2, I believe, 2 less. And so I don't specifically remember if John is more physical energy based because it was mostly just him staying alive.
That's
orange,
true.
Man.
It's going to be
more energy
based. Yeah.
But if nothing else, pretty much every orange deck has Orange Uppercut, which is a physical attack that does stages. So that -2 stages will probably at least see a little bit of use this game, assuming that he retains control of this game. Because another really good orange card is Orange Launcher, which is a guaranteed crit every time. Yeah. So it's really powerful.
It synergizes really well with the Orange Mastery as well. It lets you pull out those drills out of your discard pile after combat.
Yep. All right, we got a red double strike here.
Yeah, his second round of it, so pulling up some more anger. And he leveled up off of level 1. Good job.
So it's level 2, definitely.
If I had a soundboard, I'd be playing it right now. Little nice golf clap. Way to go, way to go. You angered up.
Yep, but Piccolo's level 2, I think probably his most powerful level, just in terms of the effect. that you can do.
Yeah, I mean, with Dragon Ball Z, it's really cool is that the more that's written on the card,
The better. Pretty
it
much
actually
every time,
is.
yep.
You know, you look at any card, and if it has more text, you don't even have to read the
You
text.
just know it's better.
You just, I mean, it's not always like that, but it seems like
it seems like
is,
it a lot of the time.
You know, Wall Breaker is just
yep.
tiny text,
Yeah.
but it does so much.
And it's similar with Namekian, or with just Piccolo's level 2, because it's just like, you get to, especially, again, another thing that it can synergize with is Convertation, since he's a hero, so just Convertation, obviously.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you get to look at their hand, and even if your hand is all combat cards, you still get to, if you know their hand, you get to discard the card you know is the least useful in that situation.
Right.
And then, obviously, if it's styled, you get to use a crit effect, and even if it's not styled, you get to mill them 2 and rejuvenate 2.
It's a good card.
It is.
It's a good
Piccolo's
card.
pretty
Yep.
good. I think Piccolo.
Oh my gosh, he's gone to level 3, folks.
Wow, that was really fast.
It was. One thing when you're playing red that I found, it's really difficult to remember that mastery takes effect when you level up. You know, you have to pull that card, you have to discard a card.
Yep.
And it's just really easy to overlook those effects and everything. Dragon Ball Z is definitely a game where you have to pay attention to what all the card effects are doing.
Dragon Ball Z is definitely a game of the little things.
Yeah.
Where it's like remembering all the little things your cards do can, like, obviously a bunch of little things will end up making a very big difference in the game.
Oh, it certainly can. I mean, you forget to do one thing. You know, I can't think of any examples and everything, but it can start piling up really big.
Yeah, certainly.
Like the drill, orange drill with Krillin on it, that makes you banish the bottom 3 cards of their discard pile. Let's say you're facing up against a Namekian deck and everything. That drill is huge. That's one of the first drills you want to pull out if you've got a lot of drills in your orange deck. Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of orange. I'm playing an orange deck primarily right now. We're playing primarily fun here in our locals, and so it's a lot of fun to be able to play orange and not have to worry that much about just completely being, crapped on. It's just like, oh, this sucks. Of course, I lost every game tonight,
but it happens. And so since we're playing fun, I decided to play a completely one-dimensional aggressive deck.
But you did really well with
Trunks.
it. Saiyan Trunks, man. I mean, those power levels and everything, yeah, definitely.
I had fun. Last game I got to do the combo where you're on level 3. You look at your top 6, and then you use Sword Stance to go up to level 4, and then you get to look at their top 6. I did something like 25 cards of damage in that combat. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to go.
The nut physical. I had like gut kick into clothesline into something else, and he just had literally nothing. Because I wound up giving him obviously he had whatever card in his hand to begin with. I didn't know.
Right.
But the 3 I gave him, it was like 2 energy blocks and the energy attack.
Yeah.
He's at 0 stages, so it's like.
Yeah.
You're going to die. It's going to be awesome for me.
It is great. All right. Pulled out a Dragon Ball 4, got rid of those drills.
Definitely a powerful Dragon Ball against Orange, absolutely.
And he had a possession drill out. He got rid of that possession drill, man.
That's very crucial.
That's a great card.
It is.
It really is. It really is, especially when you're playing a drill-heavy deck and everything. You're going to draw into those drills, sometimes on your defensive turn, and it's really helpful to be able to have a way to get rid of that. Have some extra cards, get some card advantage, that sort of thing. So it can be really helpful. Plus, it can be really helpful if you're setting up some combos that are going on. Pulling up, you do a heroic assistance, place that card on top, block the next guy's turn, do that, discard the drill, get that card that you really, really wanted back in your hand, same combat, and be able to go off on them. It's really, really nice.
And if nothing else, one thing I've noticed playing this game is that it seems like things that allow you to make use of non-combat cards in your hand during combat are just really, really powerful. Yeah,
and it got better in set 2. It really did. Set 1, there wasn't that ability to do that.
Like, for example, black, I think it would be safe to say that in a vacuum, black is probably just the best style currently.
Absolutely.
And like I think one of the reasons that is because of their mastery, they can always make use of one non-combat card in their hand, period.
Yeah.
Assuming that it's styled, which 90% of the time if you have a non-combat card it is going to be styled.
Yeah,
the exception pretty much being ultra rares that are non-combats that aren't styled.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
But you're probably not going to be discarding that.
Yeah, you're not going to want to
for the
discard
mastery.
an ultra rare
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely ultra rares for a reason.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so it's looking like Brian is well on his way to Dragon Ball Victory. He has been wall breakered, so he's looking to crit off that thing.
Yep.
Maybe he'll pull out a shoulder grab or
Shoulder
something
grab
like
would
that.
definitely be awesome.
That's really nice in red that shoulder grab says that all other attacks do critical damage. Don't allow you to use a critical damage
Yep.
effect. So I mean, the next card that you play, you get rid
Yep.
of Wall Breaker because it's actual critical damage on the card.
I wonder if potentially you could play something like a like Red Krillin, because like the non-promo Krillin, his power makes you gain 2 anger, and it seems like Red in general is typically tilting towards most powerful MPPV.
Yeah.
And
that's
yeah.
the way that the whole thing's been built around. Absolutely.
And so if you have Destructo Disc, it's like you don't have to worry about them blocking your attack if you get Wall Breaker, because Destructo Disc can't be stopped.
Right.
So like, whereas in black it's normally guaranteed crit because the black mastery makes you deal an extra card of damage, so it does 5 cards, and since it can't be prevented, it is almost always a crit.
Yeah.
Unless they played something where obviously that lowers the damage because that's not preventing it.
Yep.
But with red, with shoulder grab, it makes it a crit as long as it hits period, so it's very good.
Yeah.
I would say.
Definitely.
I played against one of my friends once, and he wound up. He had enough cards to, like, where you get to choose a player's anger to raise, and he wound up raising me as Black Krillin up to level 2, and I had no way to get back, and it's just like, oh, that's not fun.
Yeah.
It looks like Brian has 5 Dragon Balls in play, or 4.
4
I
Dragon
think 4.
Balls.
4 in a radar. Yep. Essentially 5, yeah.
Essentially 5. Be nice.
Did one of Brian's balls get banished? Oh. Oh, okay. That's not
But
good.
he still has it. He actually has possession.
Oh, yeah,
of
that's
it
true. Yeah,
still, so
all it
that's
cares is
nice.
if you control all of them. Then it'll
Right.
all have to be from your deck.
Yep.
Ooh.
So he just needs to draw into one more. He can use Dragon Ball,
Yep.
and he's on his way to Dragon Ball
Absolutely.
Victory. He's already at level 3 for anger, and
Yep.
so he's on his way to an MPPV victory.
If you can get rid of the wall breaker, of course.
Yeah.
Which is yet to be seen currently. Wonder if it ever gets to the point where you would consider lowering yourself from level 3 to level 2 with your own Dragon Ball 2. I think I did that once or twice when I was playing Namekian Piccolo.
Yeah.
Just because, like, the level 2 ability is just so good.
Sure.
The only huge downside, like, if your deck's not built to angering out, well, they're usually, like, I would say there are 2 typical ways to win. Or I guess really only, well, there's Dragon Ball Victory. But you can win with either anger, Dragon Ball Victory, or just, like, energy beatdown with Piccolo.
Right.
And if you're not leaning towards angering out, then level 2 is just so much more powerful than level 3.
Yeah.
But, like, specifically if you're playing Namekian, with the Namekian Mastery, since every time you rejuvenate, you gain an anger, so many Namekian cards.
Oh, nothing. It's just our microphone and the table is holding up holding
okay.
up the camera and everything.
Yeah.
So we just don't want to make sure it's shaking it.
But,
as best as we can.
So many of the Namekian cards rejuvenate, and since rejuvenating gains you anger as Namekian, it's really hard to not have your deck be built towards angering out,
Right.
just because of the cards in Namekian. Because even if you try to build it, like if you specifically tried to not have your deck built to anger out, it's still really hard because since this game is relatively new, there aren't a huge number of cards yet.
Right.
But the upside to that is it's a lot easier to get into because, like, whereas in Magic, if you're playing any of the constructed formats, 90% of your good cards are going to be rares.
Right.
So it's really, like, the game gets really expensive, but this game is new enough, and so a lot of the
It's
really good
easy enough
cards,
to get a hold
a lot
of
of them are
some of the
commons
good
or
cards,
uncommons, or from the starter set, which are all relatively easy to get.
Right.
So that was one nice thing. As someone who played Magic a lot, I definitely appreciate that fact of Dragon Ball Z.
Yep. So Brian, as you saw, just pulled out his 6th Dragon Ball. So he's one more away. So if he draws into it, then it's going to be game over.
What does he have? I think he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He needs 7, right?
Yep.
Yep. He needs Dragon Ball 7.
Yep.
And then Brian, his first priority would probably be to try to capture one of those Dragon Balls back. But it would have to be John, excuse me. Yeah. John would be trying to capture one of the Dragon Balls back, which would, of course, have to be Dragon Ball 1.
Yeah. And in case you guys haven't figured it out, John is on the left hand of your screen, and
yes.
Brian is on the right. Of course, maybe in post I'll put in, their names on the bottom
certainly.
At the very beginning. All right, so we got our first ally out. We've got to pull it out, Tien.
Tien is certainly a very nice card if you can use him reliably.
Yeah.
Because if his energy attack hits, oh, look, I get a free card. Cards are nice. Drawing cards is definitely one of the best things you can ever do in a card game, pretty much, period.
Was pulling cards back out. Yeah. Yeah? Did I just totally miss that?
Maybe a little. It's fine.
All right.
It's getting kind of late here.
That's okay. It's all right. I'm interested in the game. I mean, we're coming down to the wire here. I'm paying attention to it.
Looks like both players are pretty even in terms of life cards left. Maybe John being a bit lower, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
About even.
Yep. So we're passing back and forth and everything. And,
I actually think Brian's a little lower. Now that I get to look again. Dragon Balls, yeah.
Yeah. So we're just wondering when's John actually going to crit and take some balls back.
Absolutely. The unfortunate thing is that he does have to take Dragon Ball 1, which doesn't have any big immediate impact when you take it, but it's still obviously the main goal is to stop him from winning. But like normally a huge part of taking Dragon Ball is that you get to use their effect. Like stealing Dragon Ball 3 in combat is one of the best things you can do ever, because you get more card advantage and you get card selection at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons where when I was like first starting out, I was like, okay, Dragon Ball 3's effect is so good, I should just want it in every deck, right? But then I realized that if while its effect is so good, it means that it can get stolen unless you're playing Namekian. If it's like your only ball in play as Namekian, then it can't get stolen, which is really good, at least through crit effects. But I was just thinking, most of the decks that really that I've been playing that weren't Namekian have been more aggressive. So obviously, more aggressive means you're not going to be blocking as many attacks, which means you're going to get crit more often. Right. And if they steal your Dragon Ball 3, then it can be very bad for you.
Definitely. So we're looking at Brian actually using his Visiting the Past when he entered combat. So he's the attacker, and he used Visiting the Past.
We got a red shoulder grab, pretty much the best red card. As we discussed before, makes all of your attacks, if they hit, they do critical damage. So basically, after he plays that red shoulder grab, all he has to do is hit and attack, and then that wall breaker will be gone. He
really has a tough decision to make here, folks. If you see what's actually out on the table, he's got the choice between a Time as a Warrior's Tool and a Confrontation.
Oh, wow.
So with that red shoulder grab that he has, if he pulls Time out of the way so that it actually hits,
John will just Confrontation right back.
Exactly,
and take his
pull the shoulder grab. But if he gets rid of the Confrontation, the shoulder grab, he uses it, the effect goes into play, but then, all attacks in the future are stopped. So it's pretty well stinks. So
and he decides to take the Confrontation, which I think I agree with, because in the end they kind of have the same general effect, but Confrontation lets him see your hand.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So there is that secondary effect that he knows what other cards I have to play. So. But still, it's a time, so it's going to stop every single attack that he has.
Time is still going to be very good here.
Yep.
So I believe it is John's action over here.
So on their way to survival victory, they're pretty much even as far as life deck is concerned still. And he got a ball.
He gets a ball.
All right. So
Step one of the plan.
Yep. He's doing well. He's doing well.
He is certainly doing well in this game now that he has a ball back.
Yep. So the game just got interesting.
It
folks,
did just
right?
get interesting. And we know that it's going to be hard for Brian to get rid of that wall breaker with what we were discussing earlier.
Yep.
So it certainly looks like I would say that John is more in the driver's seat this game.
Well, at this point.
At this point,
yeah,
anyway.
Yeah. It was Brian up to this point.
It
Now
was.
John's
It
turned
was.
the tables. Oh, and he gets the ball
he
back.
gets the ball
oh
back.
my gosh. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh.
So yeah, Piccolo's level 2 is certainly good here, since A, he gets his ball back, which is very good, and B, since he knows his opponent has time, he can try to pitch one of his attacks to see if he can maybe get an event or a non-combat card to have for later, since he knows attacks aren't necessarily the best thing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's decisions.
Decisions,
This is the fun part of having. He knows what's in John's hand. Since he took the confrontation, John doesn't know what's in his hand, so he's got a little bit of an advantage there. But he knows that John has a time, and so really he's limited to playing events, something that's on his board.
Mm-hmm. The good news is that even if your opponent plays time, you still get the secondary effects of your attacks.
Right.
So if you have an attack with a very good secondary effect, you still will want to keep it in your hand usually.
Right. This is definitely a really good game.
This is certainly a good game. This is one of the nice things about banning low tiers, or banning the high tier decks.
The top tier decks.
You get a lot of situations that just don't come up, like for example, red being played.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're going to use 1/6 of our masteries here. So, yeah, it's really nice. And guys, if you if you want to be playing at your locals and having some fun and everything, you've probably at this point already discovered banning top tier decks. And so it's really nice option for you. Definitely encourage you. If you feel like your game and your local is getting a little bit stale, that sort of thing, you want to be able to mix some things up, see some play from a Gohan or a Red Mastery or something like
That's
that. It'll definitely encourage you guys to do that. It's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. Mixes that style up, and it's just like great. I'm seeing Ginyu again for the 5th time this tournament. Don't want to do that.
Fun.
Yeah, mix it up. Ban those things.
Although I do have to say, as somebody who is fairly new, I still find the top tier decks interesting. I know I'm in the minority in that respect.
You haven't been playing those things.
Yeah, that's
for
very
the
true.
Time. It's crazy. It's crazy. At every single place you go to a 1K event, you go to any type of a regional event or anything like that. At this stage in the game, and we're about a couple weeks until set 3 releases at this stage, we're seeing the exact same masteries. Or the exact same people over and over and over again, exact same decks, that sort of thing. It just gets old. You really don't want to see that. You want to see a healthy meta. You don't want to see that one that's drowned out by 3 or 5 decks if you consider the different flavors of Ginyu.
Yep.
Right.
That is one thing Magic is very good at, but I think it's kind of unfair to judge this game compared to Magic, because this game, while there is you can look at the old game to see what stuff is really good, but this game has still only been out for a very short time, whereas Magic's
less than a year.
Yeah.
It's only 2 sets in.
That's right.
We're going to have our 3rd set released
in about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But what I was going to say, Magic
June
is
26th.
26th, that's right. But Magic is very good, at least recently, at having very diverse formats usually.
Right.
They're usually, especially currently right now, there are a lot of really good decks. But again, it's kind of unfair to judge that.
Yeah,
because Magic's been out for
20
years
there's
now?
12 a dozen decks
Something
in
like
standard.
that. It's really...
Yeah.
It's quite a diverse format right now.
Yeah, it's really nice, but it's been around for a couple decades.
20 years now,
you know?
22, I think.
Exactly.
Something like that.
So it's had its chance to kind of figure out what's right, what's wrong, what works best, that sort of thing.
Yep. So it looks like both players are getting really close to the
There's
end
his
of their
Dragon Ball
decks here.
7.
Ooh.
But of course, Jonathan got the ball back, so...
Oh, he didn't put it into play. It was milled as damage, it looks like.
Yeah, it's rejuvenated, but you know
Yep.
it's on the bottom of his deck now. And he pulled another ball, so they're fighting back, man.
They're certainly fighting.
Jonathan's got his board set up. He's got 2 balls now.
And he has the advantage in deck, I think you could say. His deck looks...
Yeah, slightly more. He probably has, half a dozen cards more in there.
But sometimes if those half a dozen cards have endurance, that can end up being like 10 or 15 cards, which can be a really big deal.
Absolutely.
From time to time.
Thing is with orange, though, so you don't have that much endurance.
That's true.
Yeah.
Orange's endurance, for the most part, there are some exceptions, of course, but for the most part, it seems really concentrated. You have some cards that have like 3 and 4, and then not a whole lot of 1s and 2s. In terms of endurance.
Or you've got endurance on a drill, and it's just like, do I really want to sacrifice a drill just to save 1 card? Because there's really no other drills that have more than just 1 endurance. So it's just like, do I really want to take that extra card of damage, or what? I mean, if it makes a difference with critting, and you know that critting is going to snowball into other things, you don't want that to happen. So. Oh, it's a good thing that he had focusing drill in play. He played the card that allows you to wipe your opponent's board, setups, drills, and allies. Confrontation did out of his hand.
Confrontation's very good.
Yep. So
I think it might be fair to say Confrontation / Stare Down, just the best card in the game, because it goes in every deck.
Yeah, it's definitely very versatile. The thing is that we're so far into the game that, or not far enough into the game to really have, this card breaks the entire thing. It's really good. I mean, there's several cards that are staple cards. You have to have them in pretty much every single deck that you're going to run. But yeah, definitely, I think stare downs, confrontations are definitely a must-have in pretty much every single deck. Unless you're building a deck that's very specific, has a very specific purpose.
Like if there's some kind of deck where you have absurd, like so many cards that synergize together.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I think
you
that's
need
pretty much the
room.
Yeah.
Confrontation and everything. And stare down is definitely one of those things that, hey, maybe I'll have to sacrifice it.
And that's one of the reasons that visiting the past is so good, is because it lets you get those really good cards again. Like if you have a visiting the past in play and a Times Warrior's Tool in your discard pile, your opponent almost never wants to enter combat.
Yep.
Unless you can bait them. For example, like if you have like all events in your hand, you do it and they think, okay, he has a lot of attacks, I'm gonna get my time, and then you just have all events and you laugh at them.
Yeah, there we go. You bait them out.
If it's the attacker, if you just have a confrontation, you can just...
So he put Dragon Ball 7 in play. He's pulling certain cards out and putting them on top of his life deck. He pulled a shoulder grab, a double strike, and a time.
Certainly very good cards to get.
Yeah. So if you're new to the game and you see a Dragon Ball 7 being played, it's definitely the most powerful Dragon Ball that you have. It's very versatile in a lot of decks and everything, especially decks that cycle, that mill decks, etc. So when you see Dragon Ball 7 being played, definitely you want to make sure and take a look at what cards is the guy actually putting on top of your deck, because he's going to draw into it if you enter combat, or if you're going into and you pass and it goes to his turn.
But this is a nice thing that it seems like a lot of things in the game, just in general, a lot of the really powerful things you can play around. Like for example, with Dragon Ball 7, like you were just talking about, you can look at what cards your opponent just put back, like have them show you. Mm-hmm. And you can just sort of decide, okay, they have, like for example, if they declared combat, and and they steal your Dragon Ball 7 or something like that, then if they pull 3 combats, you just know, okay, I just don't enter next turn, and then they're only going to have, or well, I guess then they declare. So it doesn't actually make much sense, and I'm just silly. That's fine. Yeah. Still learning.
And here we go.
Ooh, an attack for 9 cards of
endurance.
damage. 6.
And there we go.
That is game. Jonathan
we go.
Haventry takes the tournament with, who would have guessed it,
An
Orange Gohan.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. So everybody, we want to definitely thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully CJ and I talking didn't distract you from the actual play. If you're not quite understanding of how the play actually happens, we hope that our commentary helped a little bit and everything. So everybody, we want to thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Every single week, we're going to be uploading these gameplay matches from our local tournament. It's always going to be the top-seeded people in the tournament playing the final match. So it's going to be the best ones, the guys that were on the roll. So it's going to be really good. We're going to be uploading this weekly with weekly commentary. It's going to be a lot of fun. You want to make sure that you like, subscribe, comment below, that sort of thing. And also, guys, we just want to encourage you, subscribe to Capsule Corp Gaming. Tell your friends and everything about Capsule Corp Gaming, our YouTube channel. We also have a Facebook page. Go to capsulecorpgaming.com. It'll take you to our Facebook page. We're in the process of building a website, forums, that sort of thing. Also, we want to let you know that there is going to be a tournament that's coming up in about 6 weeks. End of July, we're going to be hosting a tournament here at our local game store in Greenville, South Carolina. Next Gen Trading. Go to our website. You'll see the event page that's shared there, and definitely come and join us if you're in the Southeast. If you can't go to Gen Con the following weekend, definitely come and join us. 1K event. It's going to be a lot of fun. So again, like, subscribe, comment in the section below, and my name is Zach Stafford for Capsule Corp Gaming. Thanks for listening.
This is red in general. I mean, you play any red deck, you're